Classes in session.
Welcome to Unlearn 16 Classes in Session, and today I have Tori Franco. Well, there's this sheet. Look at that tattoo. What's up on your arm there?
This is Maya Angelou, Still I Rise.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. That's a
Thank
lot
you.
of black ink.
Yes, I got a lot of ink.
That's a lot of fill, dude. That's a lot of fill. So Tori and I met. We'll do a little background on you, and then you can fill in.
Oh
So
God.
Tori and I, we really kind of have officially met very recently, but I've been following you for a while on TikTok. You know, all of your lip syncs and thirst traps, and your really, really excellent hair. To be
Thank you.
honest, Tori, what really drew me in was your hair. I'm not gonna lie, you have a solid fade, really good friggin' lines.
Yeah, but says you with the good hair.
Well, listen, like speaks to like. If I'm going to
That's
take
true.
this time, I want to make sure that the people on my podcast, exactly. So let's start at TikTok and then we'll jump into
Okay.
your world. I'm going to want to talk about your tattoos probably at
Okay.
some point, but let's start at your world. So what made you, when did you join? What made you join? How much do you love and hate TikTok all at the same time?
Literally, that's it. I joined TikTok probably like everybody else during quarantine.
COVID.
Yeah. Out of boredom and just curiosity. And I was like doing just stupid video my mother and I are in quarantine together and I was just making stupid videos like pranking her. And
Right.
then I discovered lesbian TikTok.
It's a
And
vast, amazing world, folks. If for
yes,
those of you who are listening or watching, you're not on lesbian TikTok,
where
guy,
are you?
girl, straight, bi, whatever it is, you might just want to roll out, see what it feels like. It's good for
Mosey on
everybody.
over. Yeah, it is. I've got sucked into it and never got spit back out.
You really
So
got
that
sucked in.
yeah, I did. I made some stupid videos like addressing the community and then like kind of just people I didn't expect it, but people were like, "We kind of like your energy." And I was like, "Cool." And then it kind of grew from there. And yes, you're right. I do love and hate TikTok at this point.
Love and hate. Okay, so number one thing you love about TikTok.
The community aspect of it. I feel like it's if you're on TikTok, no matter what side of TikTok you're on,
Mhm.
you're speaking a language that is sometimes it only seems like it's conducive for TikTok people. Like you
Sometimes,
go
yes.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Um so I love that. That's really it. I love the community aspect and the way that you can the visibility
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Right? The ability, and I think that was stuck in quarantine. And I'm going to talk about TikTok, but I want to sort of apply it to a bigger picture here because I mean, I don't you guys weren't stuck in it as much. I don't know if as much as we had some really big long lockdowns here. I'm a teacher, so I wasn't allowed to go to school, but we had some serious lockdowns and quarantines, and nothing was open, and it was incredibly isolating.
Mm.
And the thing about TikTok that people don't understand is it just has this magnanimous reach. Like, I mean, people from South Africa and Australia and Finland and all of these amazing places and all of this incredible diversity sort of pops up on your page.
Yep.
And then if you're lucky enough to be a creator that has a significant following, you get to interact. I mean, I do a lot of lives, and you get to interact with all these amazing people
Yeah.
and create a community. And I mean, initially, I got nothing but love. What about you? Like when you popped in?
Yeah, I think I've been lucky thus far. I feel like I still get mostly love. There are some people who, don't like I could like when I've done like some I guess like cocky videos and I guess people don't really appreciate that, which I kind of
Stop it!
understand.
Like what? Come on! Like it's just me and you, and however many thousands of people are going to listen to this. What? Like
um
what? What's your most cocky video?
probably the videos addressing like the straight men who have wives that like consistently comment and say like, "Oh, I would leave my husband for you." Like I address them and like kind of joke about it. But
Right, right, right.
it's like a fun way. Like I would never obviously steal a guy's wife, but I think people
How
mis
hot is she? No, just joking. Kidding. Just kidding.
well, right.
Just
Depends.
kidding.
Um so I guess like people want to see more authenticity, I feel. Um Overall. So when they feel like I'm not doing that, they'll get pissed.
That's so funny. I honestly believe, and look, there's a big side of TikTok and social media in general. So those of you who aren't on TikTok can still understand this. There's a big side that is the lip syncing and the dancing and the not really being anything to do with you. And then there's this another side of TikTok
Mm,
that's this incredibly authentic, amazing. You get to see sides of people that you never would have seen, and then there's this push of it. And
yeah.
what I love about it is the fact that I really do feel, for
Mm,
good or for bad, right? No matter what kind of hat you're wearing, not to make fun of the red hats that you guys have down there, but no matter what color hat you're wearing, um, if you're being authentic, it really does get pumped and people will rally. Can't speak
yeah.
right now, or not so much rally, but I like the dialogue
Yeah.
that it creates,
Yeah, it
you
does.
know?
And people want relatability, I think, ultimately. They want to
Mhm.
feel like, not that they're looking at some person on this pedestal that thinks that they're the shit, but they want somebody who, like, they want to feel like they're looking at themselves. I mean, like,
Right.
that's how I feel when I'm consuming. So I feel like that's really the only time I've ever got, because they're like, bitch, we know you got insecurity issues. You're coming on camera like pretending like you're the shit. We know that you like are self-loathing. I'm like, yeah, you're right. This isn't really me.
Look, but doesn't every I mean, I came on here, so in my beginning videos I was lip syncing, it's that ego or I don't know, that
Ego.
everybody wants to be a rock star. I got like, even in the beginning when I had like a few thousand people watching my stuff. It's a
Mm,
few thousand people that watched me for a minute and thought I was cool. You know what? That's good
right.
for everybody's ego.
Yeah, but you know what?
Everybody.
It is. But one of the things that I hate about TikTok and certain like people that I've met is that the ego gets to like it gets to people's heads too
Oh
much,
yeah.
and it becomes this like race for numbers. Like, oh my god, I need to do whatever it takes to get the numbers so
Right.
that I can continue to feel relevant, and that's annoying to me. Very annoying.
And yeah, well, I mean, and again, this applies to all streams, right? Like whether we're talking about Facebook or Instagram or whatever we're talking about. And to be perfectly honest, even if we're talking about real life, because I think it's hysterical how people, and we're going to talk about this, separate social media from real life. I'm like, you know what? You think that somebody doesn't walk up into real life with a front, with an ego, with a certain energy, that they're full of
Absolutely.
it? Of course they do.
We're
Of
all
course
full of
they do,
shit. Yeah.
right? Of course they do. But it's, and it's not that I don't get caught up in numbers sometimes too, because you see, you do really well, and then all of a sudden one doesn't do well. You're like, is that
Fuck.
it? Is my time done? Am I done now?
Right.
Has somebody
Yes.
said, that's your 15 minutes, Joe? It's time to go back to teaching or whatever. So I feel that. I can feel that. But what I also feel is that the minute I don't ever do a trend. The minute I do a trend, Tori, nobody watches it. The minute, the minute there's a song in my video, it's like scroll.
Fuck
So,
off. Right.
because it's just not me. There are lots of people that can
Right.
do trends that are funny, that shape them, and that are way, you know what I mean, or do a dance or whatever. I can't dance. My students are constantly like, "Why don't you dance?" I said, "Because I'm bad at it." Why would
Right.
I? Why would that be my thing?
Well, I think
Worst side.
I'm still
Was
trying to
that?
figure I'm still trying to figure out what my thing is, to be quite honest.
But how old are you?
32.
See, figuring out your thing I'm 46. I kid you not. I feel like I always thought I knew what my thing was. Like I could be, I thought I was a confident person. I thought I
Mhm.
knew my stuff. And then I went through, a very horrible relationship, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I feel like at 43, at 44, I'm like, oh, that's who I am. I
Right.
I didn't know. I didn't know I was because when you're in your 20s and everybody thinks that like teenagers, they're trying to figure it. Not You're not figuring anything out when you're a teenager. In your 20s, you're supposed to figure it out. I don't think you do.
No.
I don't think you do.
I
Anybody does.
I don't have it figured out in my 30s. And I know so many people my age that don't.
Right. So hard side of TikTok then. So the good
Mm.
side is the community, hard side,
The ego, like you said. I
the
think
ego.
yeah, I've made a lot of connection. It's very fake. It is very fake. It's it's like the race to the top for everybody. When you start to connect with other creators, you just start to see how opportunistic people can be, and that they put their relevancy above like humanity
Right.
um at times, and that can be very disheartening.
Mhm.
um and I mean, I'm sure I'm probably guilty of it as well. Like, let's be real, if we're all creators, we all do want opportunities and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Duh.
But I think there's a big difference between wanting an opportunity and being authentic about it and thinking your authenticity or your ideas or your humor or your wit or your whatever talent it is that you have and that you possess,
Mm.
you have a confidence in that. I think that's legitimate. I think using other people is, on a different level. But I think, again, we're talking about that's the world,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people are like, "Oh, Joanna, if you want another, you interviewed Rosie. Why don't you just ask Rosie?" I'm like, never. I will never ask that woman for a
For
favor for me to step up because two things. Number one, she was beautiful for doing it in the first place. I'm nobody to her. And number two, if I can't get it on my own, if it doesn't, she gave me the opportunity. The opportunity was the interview she gave me. That's what she gave me, not everybody else's phone number that she lives in a radius of. Whereas I think that might be, how can I use this person to go here and duet
yes,
this person?
it's like using, that's what I've noticed, is like using people as stepping stones, and
Sure.
that's not a natural thing for me, really. Like,
As it
I've
shouldn't be.
became friends. Right.
Hmm.
I'm friends with a lot of people that have much bigger followings than I do, and I actually make sure that, like, me and Rhea became really close. I made sure that I distanced myself from Rhea when it came to our platforms. A, because I didn't want people to consistently put me in that box that Rhea,
Yeah,
I wanted to create my own way. Even if it
sure.
took me 10 times longer to get where Rhea is, I know that I did it myself and I didn't have to step over anybody to do it. But I
Yeah.
see a lot of people on TikTok who um do that, and that sucks.
Do you think they'll be successful though? Do you think they might have, and again, real world applications, do you think they'll have a minute of success? Maybe, possibly, and then it will burn out because there's
Yeah.
no substance there. And if there's no
Mm.
substance there, you're not going anywhere.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I 100% feel that way. Like, yeah, it may work temporarily,
Hmm.
um, right now, but
Right.
you're not building any skin in the game because you're not putting in the, it's like when you're cheating on a friggin' test. It's like,
You
okay, yeah, you're getting an A, but you're not learning shit.
Exactly. What are you going to do with that after? Great, you got that A. You can put paste that to your forehead, but that's not going to get you anywhere, in real life, or that's not going to get you the next assignment or the next break or the next thing, whatever that happens to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. You're creating
Um,
this environment where you're going to have to keep on, it's like almost like an addiction. You have to keep on finding the next best thing in order, you know what I mean? So,
Absolutely. And I mean, and the next best thing, I don't know how much you've had in this, the whole TikTok taking videos down and banning people. And have you gone down that road?
recently they took me out of the creator fund because somebody came into my live stream uh attacking me for what I look like and being gay, and I went at them, and they banned me from the live stream and said I was bullying, and so they took me out of the creator fund. But to be honest, I don't even give a shit.
Right, right. But that's also interesting because I've had, like, you and I are both sitting in a place where if somebody's going to come at us, I don't know what what homophobic or gender issue, whatever people come at you with, right?
Yeah.
Um, But when they come at me, I know now I have to be careful. And this is interesting. I think it's just interesting on many levels. I have to be careful with how I respond, not because what I say back has any, I'm never as disrespectful. I'm never as condemning. I'm never rude. I don't swear. I don't demean. I'm sarcastic, but I have to
I
be
know.
careful.
I love it. I gotta say, I fucking love it.
Well, but
Anyway.
sometimes those get taken down. They get usually get put back up when I appeal them. But I have to be careful. And somebody very lovely close to me, who's sort of a very gruff supporter of mine, he actually owns a tattoo shop that I go to. And he's a partner of Lou's. And he took me aside and
Oh.
he's real hard. Like this guy, when I went through all that horrible divorce or whatever, like he took me into a back room and he was lovely. But I felt like he yelled at me for 2 hours about how much better I am than that person for 2 hours. I don't even know if he inhaled. I didn't know if I was supposed to cry or if I was supposed to get
Nod.
like, you know, anything you say, but he was lovely in that. But he's very gruff and he says what he thinks. And he said to me very recently, because he was very proud of the whole Rosie thing, the podcast thing, and me doing it on my own. And he said, be careful. He goes, because you're going to have people who are insecure, who are broken, who are maybe, he goes, Joe, you're very confident in who you are and being gay and being out. He goes, there's a lot of people, especially men, because Ben's a guy, we're a weak bunch. We have a lot of insecurities. We come at you sometimes, and especially guys who have been bullied, harassed, who have internalized homophobia, and they come at you.
Hmm.
He's like, I'm telling you to be careful, not because I think that you're aggressive or that you're mean, but you're very smart with your words. You got to be careful with your platform, what you do to somebody else's mindset. Even if they come in swinging, you got to
Yeah,
be careful how you swing back. You can give them a pop on the nose and then you got to step back.
like a boop.
And that's it. Just give them a nice little slap. But
Oh
don't
no.
pummel them into the ground because your words can have weight now. Do you feel like that kind of responsibility now?
Um, Not with trolls necessarily, because I feel like trolls are purposely like they're going. A lot of the times I've seen they make fake accounts to go out of their way to demean other people.
Yeah,
So if you're giving that to me, I'm giving it back.
right.
I'm not, listen, I'm not a teacher. I don't have anything to really lose, So if
Right,
you're
right, right.
coming at me swinging, I'm swinging back full force, and I mean, I'm not disgusting about it. I would never,
Yeah.
like I kind of just call people out on their own shit. Um I do feel as though I have a responsibility to the followers. Like people come to me for advice a lot,
Yeah,
and
right?
yeah, and that's a little jarring, because I am not, I mean, I'm in a life coaching certification class right now.
Well, that's amazing.
Thank you. So eventually maybe I'll be able to, like, maybe not give advice, but like coach somebody, but
Mhm.
I'm still not a therapist. If somebody's having mental health issues, I don't know how to handle that or what to do. But a lot of times people want to unload. That's where I feel the responsibility is like, oh shit, what do I do here?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, and it's funny because I'm a teacher, I think people think I have answers.
Mm,
And I'm like, guys, I, I learned how to teach history and politics. The kids, even when my kids come at me with stuff like that, right? Like I've sat in rooms with kids and they tell me stuff, and I can have I try to I keep it together, but an internal, like this
right.
knapsack's not a parachute. I don't know how to negotiate this, and the same with followers. But they're just trying to reach out. The reason why they reach out to you is you're authentic, and you've also spoken about your own struggles.
Yeah. I think that's where I get the most well, satisfaction for myself, but also the most traction from people, because I do talk about my journey and my depression and my anxiety and um self-worth issues that I struggle with, like, every day. And I feel like people do feel connected to that.
Hmm.
And not, I wouldn't even say it's a curse. It's a gift,
Hmm.
like that people feel connected to me in that way. There are just times where I'm like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to put somebody on a path to um to hurt themselves or anything like that, you know?
Sure. But I don't,
So,
and I mean, yeah, everybody wants to make sure that that world is protected, but it's interesting, like you say, depression, anxiety, insecurities.
yeah.
And the thing about it is, every single person from Jennifer Aniston and her banging 50-year-old body to like anybody that doesn't have a job, like doesn't know what they're going to do, every single one, every single one to different degrees at different times in their life have exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
And we don't talk about it.
No, that is so frustrating. And that's the thing. You're so right. Spot on. I'm getting passionate now.
Let's go.
Everybody has these issues. We all can relate on that. Like you said, no matter what color hat you're wearing, we all can relate on that level. But for some reason, when somebody in New York, a nobody from New York, come out and I'm just like, yeah, okay, I have a little bit of a following, but I also struggle with these human things. Everybody's like, holy shit. And it's like, well, no, we need to be having these discussions. We need to be talking about these things more, you know?
Absolutely. I have a question for you. So we were
Okay.
going to go somewhere else, but let's go down this road for a while.
Okay. All
What do
right.
you
We're
think
going to
comes
go.
first, anxiety or depression? Or do you think they're just separate issues that people struggle with?
Um,
For you,
I,
even if you want to talk from your perspective.
I'll speak anecdotally.
Amazing.
It was depression for me. I started with depression at a very young age. But never had a care in the fucking world. Excuse my French, sorry.
That's all right.
Um, I was a very depressed kid from the time like I hit adolescence. I was bullied and stuff like that. So the depression came first. The anxiety didn't come until mid 20s. So,
Interesting. So do you think
yeah.
the depression that you felt, so again, I think these are important conversations to have because there's all different forms of depression, there's all different causes and consequence and connectivity, right?
Mm.
Um, do you think it came from getting bullied? Or do you think you rolled into school with that? Where do you think it stemmed from? If you're okay talking about it.
Of course, of course. I think it's imperative. Um, for me, there were a lot of things. I was being bullied, like physically abused by kids, like in
Okay.
school. And then my stepmother, my father's wife, uh is present day, an alcoholic, has her issues, and I was young and didn't have control, and she was
There it is.
verbally abused. Yeah, she was not the nicest. So I felt like I was being bullied in school.
Both places.
Yeah, right.
Well, I would expect what you had to take at home because you're the kid. How are you getting out of that? I
Right.
would expect it kind of translates into what you think you're worth at school, what you're supposed to take at school, what you're going to keep your mouth shut about,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yeah.
how that plays out.
And
What age are we talking here, Tori?
I was, well, the the stepmother situation started when I was like 7 or 8.
Okay.
But when it all kind of came to a head for me with depression and like really just not wanting to be here anymore, I was about
Wow.
12, 13. And
Puberty.
I was coming into my sexuality. I was realizing, holy shit, I like females. Like, this isn't normal. I'm not supposed to be this way. So it was just all of that at once. And then just there it was.
So you pretty much came into your like hit puberty and came out in
Yeah.
that same. Whoo! I waited
Yeah.
till I was 24.
24.
I
Damn.
took a minute.
Good for you, though.
No, I had no good for me. Are you kidding me? I would have had such a better time at university.
Well,
What was
right.
I thinking?
My high school days were fun, I gotta say.
See, high school for me, it's funny because so I'm about about what 14 years older than you are. So high
Mhm.
school for me was still like if I would have been gay, if I would have figured it out, because that's what I do think. I was gay. I just It wasn't an option. It wasn't a legitimate option. I have a story I'll
Right.
tell you off camera because I can't tell it on camera, but I have a I
Yes.
have a legit when thought if I thought I had a legitimate option, it could have been different. But when I
Mm,
was in high school, homophobia was alive and well.
yeah.
Like when you look at the movies I grew up with, this is why social media and media has such an impact. They use the F word to describe gay men consistently in social media. Gay women, nobody even spoke about them, but
Right.
except for the stereotype of the
The
gym teacher who
yeah.
I had. Um, right? And it just wasn't, there was absolutely no, we had one gay kid at my high school. Everybody called him, this is horrible. If you're listening right now, hon, I'm sorry. I don't even know who you are. Everybody called him Gay Ray Bay. That's what the whole school, Tori. We had 2,000 kids. There was one gay kid. I'm sure there was more, but that's what I knew.
One out kid.
That's what, and who the heck wants to come out in that environment?
Nope,
So
not
it wasn't
me.
even it's not like I thought about it and rejected it. It was this shut door for me. So how did you, at 13 years old, where'd you grow up? You grew up
In New York, Long Island.
in New York City, where just outside New York City,
Just outside, yeah.
right? So a suburb of New York, which is like, let's be honest, like the multicultural, like New York's pretty forward thinking.
Yeah.
So you grew up there. What was the vibe when you were 13 about being gay?
Um, it was I would say hit or miss. Um, the people I surrounded myself with, like friends,
Hmm.
were very open. We were a very open group of friends. So I came out
Right.
to my friends first. That was easy,
Sure.
seamless, nothing. I come from a very traditional Italian Catholic
Uh-oh.
family. Yeah,
Was that an
ignorance.
uh-oh?
Um, honestly, no. I thought it was gonna be though,
Right.
because my family. Sorry to my father's side of the family, but y'all are ignorant, and that's just what y'all are. And so, yeah, that my dad's side of the family really scared me.
Right.
Um, Not my mother's side of the family. I mean, we're very diverse. We have Puerto Rican, we have black, we're very melting pot
Mhm.
on my mother's side. So, o out of I have 6 cousins on my mother's side, put it this way, 2 of them are straight, everybody else is queer in some capacity.
An excellent bloodline you got there.
Yeah, we got a good bloodline. So my mother's side of the family was great.
Right.
Um, but in school, it was yeah, we had a gay kid and love him to death. His name was Ben, and he was out, and they called him Ben Gay.
Like, what the heck is going on? Like, did he embrace that?
He did.
I feel like gay men, especially young, I mean, and I really would like to have a few people on the podcast to speak about it because it's like they've had to develop this incredible self-deprecating thick skin in which they walk into a room and they own crap like what you just said,
Mm,
like the terminology, and yet they're like, you want to try to call me something, all right, you can give it. I'm going to tell you this amazing story in a second, but you can give it to me, but I'm going to flip it on its lid, and then I'm going to use it to power me
yeah,
rather than let it kill me,
yeah, we love that. That's what
which
he
is
did,
astounding.
basically. I love that.
Right?
Yeah, you take it
I
back.
had a quick story about Toronto. Have you ever been up to Toronto?
Never. I've only been to Montreal.
Tori.
I know. I wanna go so bad.
You got to come up. As soon as we're allowed, you got to come up.
You guys
So,
still aren't allowed?
well, I think you are now. I don't know. It
Okay.
gets a little confusing
Right.
about what we're allowed to do at the border. I know you're allowed to fly up here,
Oh, dope.
but I didn't know what the border looked like. I still don't know. I'm dying to
We're
go
doing what
shopping in Buffalo, but whatever. Um, so up here, so we at Toronto, we have a downtown core, just like you guys have. What's your neighborhood in New York City?
I'd say, like, Greenwich Village,
Greenwich Village,
probably.
right? So we have a Church Street. It's on Church. I think it's hysterical that the gay people are drawn to Church Street
Church
every
Street?
single place. But it's on Church Street and it's the neighborhood, whatever. And I was walking down there one time in the summer, and a pickup truck stops in the middle of Church Street. I don't know how many, maybe about 5 blocks of Church Street is
Mhm.
super gay. And this guy's coming up in his pickup truck, very stereotypical dude, has his trucker hat on, like, one of those baseball hats on forward, very thick guy in a older pickup truck, windows down, playing, yeah, I don't know, Garth Brooks. I don't know. There's a lot
Oh.
of stereotypes going on here. He stopped, and he stopped at this light,
Huh.
and I'm walking across, and there's a group of gay men in front of me, and relatively tiny guy, like thin guys, very a lot of stereotypes being,
Yeah.
fulfilled there. And they're walking across the street, and I hear him shout out the F word to these guys.
Okay.
And I get enraged but I'm far away at this point, and I'm about to, well, Tori,
Pounce.
this tiny little guy, first of all, skinnier than me, okay? Gay man, walks up to this dude's window, slaps him across his face, and dresses him down. This guy turned, I thought the guy would have got out of the car and kicked it. No, no, no. This guy turned bright red. He's like, how dare you come to my neighborhood with my people and speak this kind of inflammatory. And he went off. He didn't even inhale for 20 minutes, whatever the stoplight was. And then this
Wow.
guy drove away, tail between his legs, never to be seen of again. Let's be honest, until he came out, because we all know that that's who the guy was in the first place. And
Right.
this guy, and this other guy just walked on his way, and that was just a natural part of his day.
It's the yelling for me. Like, I've been yelled at literally while holding like a girlfriend's hand across the street. And this is in New York.
Wow.
Lesbian. I'm like,
Lesbian.
yeah, literally, fucking lesbian. And I turn around and I'm like, yes, that's what I
Excellent
am.
identification. This is a
Thank
stop
you.
sign. That's a car.
Right? And you're an asshole. What do you know? Now that
What
we're
are you
all being
hoping to
observed.
get from that?
Right.
Do you think it's the same guy? Do you think that
Probably.
guy is the same guy that did like cat calls straight women?
Yes.
Hey baby,
100%.
what's your number? You look prettier smiling. Do we think that's the
Right.
same guy?
Right. Would you smile a little bit? What are
Smile
you,
more.
deaf? You're not gonna answer me? You're not gonna, like, shut up. Yes, same guy.
It's the same guy. It's the same guy driving around all communities.
Yeah.
Um, so you come out in high school, you feel pretty good about it, but
Mhm.
you're still battling this sort of level of, and obviously that's all coming from an abusive home.
Mhm.
So how do you recognize that? How do you start to try to deal with that?
I think if I'm being completely honest, I think I suppressed it for a very long time. I think I drank my own feelings for a
Oh wow.
while. Um, and I think,
Self-medication's huge. Absolutely.
yeah, I self-medicate. I mean, I never had an issue, but I had an issue with masking, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
That was my coping. I became very angry at a certain point in my life where I was fighting a lot and busting doors off of hinges, unchanneled anger. And then I discovered writing and singing and like poetry and reading, and I kind of channeled into that. And then therapy.
There we go. Absolutely. I mean, that's the big thing, right?
Yeah,
And it's funny because a lot of people ask me, what's the one piece of advice you would give your teenage self or you would give kids or whatever? And my answer is always therapy. And they're always some people are taken back by it. And I'm like, I'm not saying everybody needs fixing. I say everybody needs to understand who they are, where they've come from, what they're under. And I don't think we ever do that at
we
all.
don't.
And I don't even think we have the tools to do that. If you would
No,
have told me that at 16 years old, I would have said, "What's the matter with you? I'm fine," which was my favorite saying when I was 16. How was school?
I'm
Good.
fine.
How you feeling? I'm fine. And
Fine.
right? Because you just keep it. Obviously, I don't know if I was or what. I mean, I wasn't out, so obviously there was something I was repressing. But this idea of getting to know ourselves, and everybody says it in high school, right? Be yourself. But please sit down, shut up, and dress the way you're supposed to dress, and take all the courses you're supposed to take, and do what your parents say, and never step out of that mold. But please be yourself,
Say it again. Say it again.
right?
We still live in that society where it's like,
Right?
be you, but be the you that we want you to be, not the you that wants to do what you want to do. You know, it's such, oh my God.
Absolutely. I feel like we're coming out of it. I don't know if we're. again, I've been teaching for quite a while, so I see the sort of different stages of kids, and I see a very particular dynamic because of where I work. But nowadays, I feel like the kids are very quick to put their ADD on the table. They're very quick to put their depression on the table. They're very quick to put their medication on the table, right?
Mm,
They're, if they're on the spectrum, on the table,
mm,
which I think is so incredibly powerful and
yes.
amazing.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's just where I go to, like where I teach or whatever, because I think if we all were tested, we'd all have something.
Yeah.
I promise you,
Yeah.
right?
100%. I have ADHD. I just discovered it.
How'd you
Self-diagnosed.
discover that? Like, did you
Um,
go get tested or did you just sort of follow a,
no, I should definitely get tested, but I'm in school now. I'm doing like life coaching outside of school. I'm doing all this stuff on social media, and I realized like I procrastinate, I can't get shit done, and like I'm just very easily distracted
Mhm.
lately. And like there are
Right?
certain things that I've always had that I never realized are direct, like I wouldn't even say correlation, like a direct line to ADHD. And so I'm like, wow, I should really get tested. But it's like I have anxiety, so why would I take the medication anyway? Like I'm going off on a tangent right now,
No, but
but
that's not I think that's incredibly important because I think a lot of people, and that's why it's so incredibly to have the right therapist or do the right, like some semblance of what's the word I'm looking for?
like an
Safe,
assessment.
healthy practice. Meaning, my kids that come to me with ADD or ADHD, one of the first things that they're all told is change your diet.
Yes.
Don't be jumping on a medicine train yet. Medication, right? Just how about we don't down a bag of Sour Patch Kids at lunch?
Right.
Let's
And
just start there.
meditation for me,
Mindfulness.
yes. 100%. We underestimate the power of meditation. I underestimate it.
It's because I can't. Well, I know why I underestimate it because I suck at it.
Everybody
I
says that.
I'm horrible. You really people like write it off as not being important or whatever. We write it off as not being important because you never tried it. If you try it, what you'll realize really quickly is it's incredibly powerful, and for the most part, we absolutely blow at it. When I was going through all of that crap right before COVID and whatever, and then we were isolated, I'm like, I don't know how I'm getting through this. Like, I really don't. I had a friend of mine, and she listens to a lot of podcasts about mindfulness and controlling our thoughts and controlling our emotions. And she said, Joanna, best advice I've ever gotten, even though I still can't do it. It still makes a world of sense. She goes, every emotion you have comes from a thought. If you can control your thoughts, you
Mm.
have greater power at controlling your emotion. And I said, shut up. What the hell are you talking about? And she gave, well, at the time, it was a rough minute of my, anyways. And she said, okay, I'm going to give you an example. You win the lottery. I said, okay, I win the lottery. You win $1 million, whatever. $1 million can't even buy a house anymore. But okay, I win $1 million. She goes, are you happy? I said, yes. She goes, do you have the money? I said, no. She goes, has it changed your life at all? No. But the thought has.
Mhm.
And I'm like, God,
It's the
I
truth.
understand, but I can't do it.
So many people say that because I recommend like one thing I can swear by when people come to me and they're like, I have this really bad anxiety, whatever. I recommend I'll give people guided meditations because for me guided is perfect because if
Right,
like with my ADHD, if I'm hearing a sound or the birds chirping, it's distracting me. I need somebody to
right.
be like, breathe bitch, and go into it.
Should put that on a
um
shirt. Yeah.
Breathe bitch, right.
Breathe, bitch. Yeah.
But it is it's something, it's a practice. That's really what it comes down to. It's a
And it's
practice.
the and I don't even mean to sound, I don't know, because a lot of the time when I go into this world, I start to sound like a self-help book, but like the ability for your mind to control even things like your blood pressure has been proven.
Yep.
I just don't got it. Like, I'm trying. I just don't have it. And I get frustrated really quickly. So I don't have ADHD, but I think I come by uh it's because I worry, and I think my whole family struggles with anxiety, and the way that I mitigate anxiety
Mm.
is I control.
Yeah.
I control everything right up to the point. So if I'm in control, if I say when, how much, whatever, I feel like I'm Julia Roberts. You know, when she said, I say when, I say how, no kissing on the mouth. If I control all of that, then I don't feel out of control.
Yeah.
Problem with that is life is a son of a,
Bitch.
right? It will throw things at you where you're like, which is exactly what happened with my marriage and all of that stuff, which is why I felt, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me, Tori.
Well, that's it. And even you see that with COVID too, you know, when the
Best
world
thing.
shut down. Yeah. It's I mean, obviously not for everybody, but um the people who were lucky enough to get through it
Hmm.
without losing a family member
Absolutely. Yeah.
or themselves, those people were given an opportunity to really assess their friggin' lives, you know what I mean? Myself included.
Absolutely.
Um, so I think,
And
yeah.
understand, go ahead, sorry.
No, no, no. What were you gonna say?
And understand that life is going to hit you with tidal waves.
Yeah.
And I've been mitigating a tidal wave for my life.
Mm,
And then come COVID, for whatever reason, and again, I was obviously older when it hit. It was like bam, 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 like divorce, COVID, my mom got sick. Like, I'm like, okay, enough. But what I realized is
mm,
when you survive those things, obviously physically, but I'm also talking about emotionally, when you survive those things, the
mm.
kind of freaking power that gives you is exponential. Now you're
Yep.
like,
Bring it on, bitch.
what do you got?
Yeah, right.
I used to panic that what if I wasn't teaching at Metro anymore? It's a private school. What if it shut down? What am I going to do? You know what I think now? I'll figure it the hell out.
Yeah,
We'll
because you
figure it
always
out. Might
do.
not be enjoyable, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I think, well, COVID especially kind of showed everybody that nothing in life is permanent. Not your
Right.
job, not your marriage. Nothing is fucking permanent in life. And so the only thing you have in life is your ability to make the choices for yourself and your happiness, period. If you're not making choices that add to your happiness, what the fuck are you doing? You
Yeah.
know? Like,
I think a lot of people live in a land of obligation and commitment. That's me. Like, if I make a commit, I'm in. I'm 100% in, and it will be to my own detriment if need be. I'm okay with that because that's what I've committed to. But even that is obviously incredibly problematic. Like, my parents got divorced when I was young, and my mom loves that way, right? She
yeah.
never had another partner, so thank God I didn't have to go through what you went through, because but she loves family that way. It's always been everything she's got. For me, everything she's got, and sometimes to her own detriment. And I
Mhm.
grew up thinking that's what love is.
Yeah.
Whether it's romantic or friend or doesn't matter, I'm in.
That's
But
how I
and I
am.
say this to my mom, that's not right. You that's not healthy for her or for me,
Yeah.
right?
It's like you're setting yourself on fire to keep others warm, you know what I mean?
100%. And and not only was I raised to think that's what love looks like, I actually thought that was my purpose.
Was to do that.
Yeah. For
Shit.
friends, for partners, and I didn't grow up. I grew up, and this is the thing, everybody has their stuff, right? Because I
Yeah.
didn't grow up getting bullied and verbally assaulted. I didn't. I mean, my parents were divorced, so that sure, I have some issues there, maybe. But
Yeah.
but I grew up with a family around me and this depiction of love that, even though came from the most beautiful of places, still wasn't a healthy, holistically healthy way to live life.
Mm. That I think well, here's one thing I think. I think parents fuck up their kids no matter what they do.
And that's why we all need therapy.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
literally.
saying? Like, your mom's generation wouldn't have gone to a therapist. My mom's not going to
Nope.
a therapist. What? what do they have to tell me? Like forget that.
Right.
But I can clearly see what their mom, and we'll talk about it now, right? I mean, and that's progress. This idea that mental health is something you have to physically work at. And it's not because anybody, a lot of parents, most parents don't have ill intention. It's just like
Right.
if I'm carrying it and I don't know I'm carrying it and it just spills out to other people,
Yep.
oops. And
Right.
then it's my job or your job to figure out, how do I fix this or how do I own this so that I don't spill it, not just to my kids, but to my family, to my partner, to my whatever.
Right. And
That's
you
what
could,
mental health is.
yeah, most definitely. Like, and you could literally be deliberately living your life so as not to pass it down to your children. But if you're not in therapy, at the very least, trying to recognize it within yourself, certain things, triggers within yourself, you are going to pass it down to your
Yeah.
children. It's just what's going to happen, you know?
You'll do it because of or in spite of. Either way, you're still controlled by the circumstances in which you grew up in. So when I say, again, I say therapy, and I don't always say it to fix, because
It's
I
not
don't
a
know. I don't
fix.
know how much I believe people change. I believe people can understand. Does that
Yes.
make
Oh
sense?
my God. Oh my God. So much fucking sense. Yes.
Because I really do think a lot is really set in us real young. And I think most psychologists and social scientists would agree that our hardwiring is quite firmly set. Guys, by 5 years old, they say.
Yeah.
Um, so let's assume for the last 40 years, I'm not going to change all of that. But
Right.
what I can do is recognize it, own it, maybe try to take a step back from it,
Yes.
at least have a conversation about it.
Exact That's it. It's communicating. Like, I know I have boundary issues. I mean, I have so many fucking issues, but like at the very least, when you can sit down and recognize and be it's self-awareness. When you can be self-aware of how you are, what makes you tick, what makes you shut down, whatever it is, you can there are certain habits you can break. Like for me, my coping mechanisms of constantly needing to mask with alcohol.
Mhm.
Okay, I can break that. I can do that. But then there are hard, like you said, things that are hardwired that you can still recognize. Oh shit. This, like, I discovered I have PTSD. Had no fucking idea. My
Of course
my
you do. Of
therapist handed right, right. And I didn't
course you do.
even
Yeah.
realize. And she was like, "Do you have any of these symptoms?" And I was like, "Well, I have all." And she was like, "You're not crazy, you know?" So at the very least, you can get the validation for yourself, but then also have the conversation with others around you so they know what to do, you know?
Yeah, or what you need in that minute, or if you need to
Right.
take a step back. Like, I mean, I always grew up where you didn't, if you're having a fight, you didn't leave the room.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know. You stay. You stay because when you leave the room, that's the sign that you don't love the person.
Oh,
So
shit.
when I would have disagreements and people would want to walk, I would see it as abandonment, or I would see
Mm,
it as not loving me, or I would see it as an end, and it would freak me out. And then to that other person, if they don't leave the room, they grew up in a household where if you don't leave the room, things get physical or things get violent or things get out of hand. So they have to leave.
yep,
And I
yes.
realized, there we go. And I realized at some point recently that those can't go together. Those two broken, and they're both broken for different reasons, those two broken mentalities, they really have a very hard time coexisting. And so learning, because you're always going to fight, learning how to fight, and it can you fight in a healthy way
Yep.
that isn't me just trying to fix it so it goes away, and isn't the other person just trying to take control of it by leaving, in a healthy way to get resolution. It really is about those kind of styles, and sometimes no matter how great that other person is, that won't let you be healthy ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's recognizing in, platonic relationships, romantic relationships, whatever, that sometimes your personality type and another person's personality type or way of whatever dealing
Mhm.
with things, they don't mesh. And
Right.
so maybe it's best for two people maybe not to cut each other off or say go fuck yourself, but
Right.
to realize like these aren't working together, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like we can't be productive. It's like productively fighting, or I don't even know what would you call it, fighting, if it's productive?
Sure. I mean, Anna and I just fought about who takes out the garbage. I mean, look, you can have the word fight is just so, I mean, people want to say disagreement, people want to say whatever. We can verbalize it or we can classify it however we want.
Semantics.
But when I have an opinion, you have an opinion, and we come to a head about it, in a safe space, I should get to say my piece, you should get to say your piece, and hopefully we get to come to some sort of compromise. And it's
Yes.
a compromise that builds a healthy relationship. Because anybody thinks they're going to be in a relationship for any length of time and not compromise, you're delusional. That's a different psychiatric appointment because that's all it is. But can I compromise and still be happy? Is the compromise an okay thing for me, or is it going to constantly have me spinning?
Yeah.
And those are really hard things. And there's no way in hell. Everybody says, how did you meet Anna, or how do you know, and all that. I go, you know what? I know it's nothing to do with Anna. Nothing. It's everything to do with me.
Yes.
Ev-
Yes.
Everything to do with I finally figured out who I am, what I need, what makes me happy, what brings me joy, what I can't handle. And I don't
Yeah.
shouldn't have to handle. And then guess what? This mythical person appeared. Well, it's because I knew, right?
And you can communicate to any person what works for you and what doesn't, and that
Mhm.
person has their can use their own discernment and their own autonomy to be like, that works for me. Cool. I can give that to you. I can reassure you, whatever it is. Or, nah, you know what? That doesn't work for me. I don't
Right.
want to, you know what I mean? And then make their own choice.
It's just so incredibly important. We're so stuck in our world about A, finding a partner, B, them being my soulmate for and ever, because, well, that's what I saw in the movie Serendipity once. So, all those 80s comedy. And we don't think, we constantly are thinking it's I'm trying to find that perfect soulmate for me, rather than I need to figure out, and people say it all the time but they don't do it. How am I 100% fine with just being me?
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so this might sound a little cliche, but I watched The Secret. Have you ever seen The Secret?
Listen, it's Anna's favorite book. She made me watch it. We have crystals all over the friggin' house. I'm sure
We
there's one
love
tucked
it.
in here
So
somewhere.
so do I. Have mine right here.
There we go.
All over the place.
What's on
So
your neck, by the way?
this is selenite.
Honey, look at this.
You
Can you
got
see
selenite?
this? Look
Yeah.
at that. That's what in order to propose to me, she cracked. Selenite is the only crystal I've ever been attracted to for whatever reason. I mostly get overwhelmed in those stores. I actually don't feel good in that store. Selenite is the only one I've ever been. I love it. And so I'll buy little pieces of it, whatever. And that's what she cracked and put in my
That's
engagement ring.
see, that's amazing. Talk about serendipity.
Serendipity.
um, but in the movie, one of the people, I forget her fucking name, but she was like, you have to know who's walking into the relationship. And I don't mean the other person, you have to know yourself. So that kind of stuck with me.
How do you do that?
A lot of solitude, I think. I think we live in a society where that tells us we need to consistently get validation by random hookups and dealing with all these people, going out. You can't be alone. You have to spend time with yourself and really figure out what it is you love and what it is you don't love, whether that's in a relationship or in life in general.
Mhm.
I've lost I've lost so much of myself in other people. I've only lost myself in other people, that now I'm at a place in my life where, yeah, I've met somebody and we're talking and I'm like, I am
I've
not going
heard.
to.
It's a little bit of a rumor on TikTok. But anyway,
Is
go ahead.
it?
Well, people are asking you all the time on your lives. Look at you blushing right
I
now.
am. Fuck.
Yeah, flat out. That's awesome. Sorry, continue. I didn't mean to make you blush.
Well, I gotta say she is great, but it's I told her I'm not going to lose myself in this situation. I'm not going to lose myself with another female. And she was like, duh, like I don't want
'Cause she
that.
gets it. Yeah.
Cause and she's the first like healthy situation that I'm walking into. And when you've only known trauma and selfishness and whatever, you're it also triggers you to be safe. It's weird. It's really weird.
I can't. Like with it's 100%. I agree with that. I would be sitting there with her and her very well balanced little mentality and all of our clear crystals everywhere, and I would get actually work myself up into, well, something's going to happen.
The ball's gonna
What,
drop at some point.
what's gonna? Yeah, and like I would joke and she'd respond, and I'd be like, "Is this where we fight? Is this the moment?" And she'd look at me and she goes, "What are you talking about? Like, why would I ever fight? Why would a joke hurt me? That wouldn't hurt." And I'm like, Okay." And I've been with her all over a year and a half. And I swear to God, it was a solid year
Of you
before I'm like,
questioning.
okay, this isn't gonna eat. And every once in a while, it still happens. Every once in a while, like even with my family, because unfortunately, when you have, traumatic relationships, they spill out of your family.
Mm.
My mom will like, "Yeah, are you sure this is okay with Anna? Did you ask?" I'm like, "Mom, let's both of us try to embrace how healthy and amazing she is,
She is right.
and
Oh
how
my
what we're
god.
doing is the problem." So when my mom wants to, for example, she bought extra Halloween candy. This is so stupid. Anna went out and bought Halloween candy. My mom bought extra. She goes, "Is Anna going to be upset because I saw she already bought candy? Is she going to think that I'm like, Mom, that's our past trauma. Gotta let that go.
Right.
Nobody gives a crap about you buying more Halloween candy.
Right, you just bought it to well,
You
that's where I'm at too,
There it is.
where, like, okay, so I surprised her the other day with, like, I made her a basket because she's really just good to me, you know? And so and we're in the beginning stages, so even talking about her right now, she's like, if she's gonna watch this, like, it's embarrassing,
Look
but
at you right now.
I feel my face turning red,
So
but
nice.
she's just a really selfless person, and I appreciate her for the things that she does. So I wanted to show her that. So I made her a basket of like things for her long day. You know what I mean? And I'm on my way to drop it off at her doorstep while she's working. And I'm on the phone with my friend. And I'm like, watch. I get to her house and she's probably got somebody at her house or something like that. Like your brain just goes because that's just what you're used to. You're just used to being two times. You're used to somebody consistently being a dick. That's what I'm like, watch, I go there and her car is really home and she's really home and she's not really working or something like that. And like
Crazy.
I find some shit out. It's just crazy what your
If you
brain
if you can, I think it's super, super healthy,
mm,
because I'm going to guess this person that you're with is also very intuitive, probably feels a lot of that. If you can, Tori, I think you
yeah.
should put that feeling on the table as much as you can. As crazy as it is, and as much as you just work through your head, let her know that you're still working on that,
Yeah. I
you know?
try. I
Because
try to
those good people feel it anyway.
yeah.
And so if
Well,
you don't verbalize it,
right.
you know?
Well, I'm always trying to communicate like, "Hey, I'm feeling less than worthy. It's nothing you did. It's just because again, when somebody comes into your life that is actually a really good fucking person, you start questioning like, do I deserve this? Because all I've ever gotten was shit and heartbreak and lies and this and that. Do I deserve this person? I don't. And that voice pops in. So whenever it comes, I do try to like express to her, like, all right, I'm dealing with this right now. And she's very patient. You know,
How do you deal with that? When you feel that, when you feel less than worthy, when you feel, I mean, therapy, but in the minute, or in the let's assume you can't go to therapy. There's a lot of people out in this world. Listen, the ability for you and I to go to a therapist is a
privilege.
privilege that a lot of people can't have. So let's assume somebody doesn't have that access. What's the one thing you can do to try, not always works, but to try to overcome that sensation, that feeling?
Like the negative self-talk feeling.
Yeah.
Um, well, within a romantic relationship, I've found that communicating it helps, especially when you
Mhm.
have somebody who's understanding and patient and is willing to reassure you. In life in general, it's something I still need to work on. I'm going to be completely honest, but um I found really powerful making sure every single day before it happens, like being proactive
Amazing.
actually helps. We oftentimes we think like we need these tools as they're happening or after they happen, but realistically you have to implement them into your daily routine. So what I used to do, which I need to start doing again, every day when I would take a shower, I'd look in the mirror and I would say like 5 nice things about myself. Um
Affirmations.
yeah, affirmations. Yeah.
Do you
So,
always
yeah.
start with your hair? Just curious.
I should though. I should.
Should put it up in the I think
You have
that's incredibly important. It's what and we'll wrap. I've taken up. Oh my God, we've been talking for an hour. I think that that's super, super important. I think the notion
mm,
of not preempting, it's like something bad's going to happen. I think the practice
mm,
of talking to yourself in a healthy, amazing, this is what I got to offer. This is the amazing talking to yourself like that daily. Because then, those things come fewer and fewer. But the more that you can do that, the more that you start expecting that's how people should be in your life. And when people aren't like that in your life, you're like, no, thanks.
right. Yep.
I think that's incredibly powerful, and which is why I say go get therapy. Don't wait for somebody to die. Don't wait for a relationship to blow up. Don't wait for a fight or a whatever.
For the world to shut down and
Don't
you're
wait for that.
right.
Because if you were healthy rolling into that, guess what? You got it. You can
Right.
handle that.
And we don't I mean, even when it comes to our physical health, I mean, there are some people out there, let's be real, who are like, I'll wait until I get cancer. But realistically, we're all trying to prevent it, right?
Mm.
So we also should be preventing our mental health issues as well, or trying to be proactive when it comes to that as well. So,
100, and we don't spend, look, even our physical health. I don't know about the educational system down where you guys are, but up here, it's really not. We really don't. We don't prevent
no.
anything. We're not geared to that. We talk about eating right, and then there's a McDonald's or Taco Bell in every single corner.
Yep.
Our government's not interested in it. Uh,
Mm-mm.
our
Because it
our
doesn't make
school
money.
system makes you take gym once and then you're done with it.
Yeah.
And the connection between your physical health and your mental health are significant. And
Yes.
again, like I got a treadmill during this whole fiasco. Do I like writing? Writing? No. Is it god
No.
awful? Guys, I want to be real clear. Every time I get on the treadmill, I hate it. For 27 minutes, I hate it. Want to know why I don't hate the last 3 minutes? Because I know it's almost freaking over. But but when I get off,
And the rest of the
there's something
day,
else. And here's the best part. When you're on the treadmill for 27 minutes, guess what? I also don't think about anything because I hate it so freaking much.
because you're thinking
When
about
you're
hating it.
giving sport, because I used to play sports, and so you can't do it. If I'm playing rugby, I don't get to think about anything else but not getting hit,
Mm.
or else I'm going to get hit. So guess what? Your mind gets to shut off. Some people do it with music, as you were talking about, or art.
And you know
You got
what?
to figure out ways in this world to shut it all down so you can just enjoy or you can just be present. And sports has a way, again, I joke about rugby, of if you're not present, you're gonna get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
You just gotta be you gotta be present. So I think finding ways to force yourself into the present. This to me. People are like,
Yes.
Joe, you do so much, you help. I'm like, are you kidding me? Every time I do a live, now every time I do a podcast, this is it. You think I'm thinking about I don't have time. I
Right.
don't have
Right.
the mental capacity.
Because you're engaging.
This is
That's
it.
meditation. So you say you suck at meditation, but you really don't. Because
Yes.
that's meditation.
I don't even have a crystal.
You are the crystal. Screw it.
I am I'm going to get that t-shirt too. I
There
am
you
the
go.
crystal. You know what's funny? And on this last note, when I go into crystal places,
Mm.
I get overwhelmed and I don't know why. I don't feel good. And somebody said it's because I'm a bit of an empath in this, and I don't know what to do with it because I'm not aware of it. So I'm
That's
a very young, misguided empath. So when I walk in there, I absorb
you're not.
everything from
I
that room, and it's a
l-
lot of negativity.
literally thought that when you said it, when you first said it, I'm like, she's an empath.
I gotta leave.
You
I
got to get
start to
out.
feel hot. I start to feel and there's no reason. There's all these scents. Somebody's doing that stupid bowl thing. Like there's no, it's all pretty. There's no reason, right? And I usually have to, I'm getting a bit better because Anna makes me go to every, oh my God, a gem. I go to every single one I pass.
It's fun in
Um,
there. It's
it
fun.
is fun. Well, Tori, thank you so much for being a part of this. I think we should
Thank
make it at
you.
least like every couple months.
I'm here.
Yeah,
Seriously, I feel like you and I could talk for hours upon
a
hours. Any
100%. I'm really happy. We were going to talk about something. Look, none of this was on these cards. We were going to talk about something totally different. But I love the way that it went. That's what I kind of like. Sometimes I don't even want a card in front of me. I just want to be able to roll into what's important, what you're passionate about,
I love that. I love that. And anytime you want
Mm.
me back, I'm here.
Well, thank you very much. And Tori, where can people find you in the grand scheme of
If you want to really find me, you can find me on YouTube at the Tori Franco Show. You can find me on Instagram at Tori Franco. And if you really want to, you can find me on TikTok, Tori Franco Zero.
and I'm going to put all of those links, I'll put them all in the description of the video and of the podcast so anybody can go and check that out.
Cool.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for
Thank you.
spending your hour and 6 minutes with us. Have a
Woohoo.
great day. Same bat time, same bat channel next week, folks. Gonna get sued by Batman for that. Dismissed.